Have you ever stood in front of the mirror and thought, when did I start feeling older than I look? Maybe it's not just about the wrinkles or the graying hair. Maybe it's that you don't bounce back from a long day like you used to, or your joints feel a little stiffer each morning. If that sounds familiar, I want you to know something important. You're not alone. And even better, you're not powerless. There's a lot you can do to feel more alive, more energetic, and more like yourself again. And it starts with something as simple as what you put on your plate. You see, the foods we eat every week don't just fill us up. They can shape how we age. They can either drain our energy or help us move, think, and even feel better. And science is proving that certain foods can do more than just slow down the aging process. They can actually help us age well. Not just live longer, but live stronger with more clarity, mobility, and joy. So today let's talk about 6 anti-aging foods that every senior should be eating regularly. These are simple, natural, delicious choices you can add to your week without turning your life upside down. And yes, backed by science, not just fads. We're going to keep it practical, positive, and focused on what really works. Let's start with one of nature's most powerful little packages, blueberries. Now I know, it sounds almost too good to be true. How can something so tiny make a real difference? But studies from places like Harvard and Tufts University have shown that the antioxidants in blueberries can actually help slow down brain aging. In fact, seniors who eat blueberries regularly tend to perform better on memory and concentration tests. These little berries are packed with something called anthocyanins. That's what gives them that deep, rich color, and these compounds help reduce inflammation and protect your brain cells from damage over time. What's more, blueberries are easy to enjoy. You don't have to do anything fancy. Toss a handful into your morning oatmeal, blend them into a smoothie, or eat them plain as a sweet little treat after lunch. And if fresh ones are too pricey or hard to find, frozen ones work just as well. They still pack the same nutritional punch. Now, speaking of foods that fight inflammation and keep your mind sharp, let's talk about another superstar, leafy greens. Spinach, kale, Swiss chard, arugula. These aren't just for young people posting salads on Instagram. These greens are incredibly powerful allies for healthy aging, especially when it comes to keeping your brain and bones strong. In fact, a study published in the journal Neurology found that older adults who ate 1 to 2 servings of leafy greens each day had the cognitive abilities of someone 11 years younger. 11 years. That's not just a small change, that's like turning back the clock by more than a decade. These vegetables are loaded with vitamin K, lutein, folate, and beta-carotene, all nutrients that are known to protect against cognitive decline. And the good news? You don't need to eat a giant salad every day. You can sauté spinach with garlic as a side dish, stir some chopped kale into your soup, or blend a handful of greens into your smoothie. Start small, and you might be surprised how quickly your body begins to crave them. Now, if you're thinking, okay, I've heard of blueberries and greens, what else? Let's move on to something rich, silky, and, yes, delicious. I'm talking about avocados. These creamy green fruits aren't just trendy, they're actually packed with heart-healthy fats, and they can play a big role in supporting your brain and joints as you age. Avocados are full of monounsaturated fats, which help reduce bad LDL cholesterol and increase the good HDL kind. That's especially important for seniors, since heart disease risk goes up with age. But here's what many people don't realize. Your brain needs healthy fats to function properly. In fact, studies show that diets rich in monounsaturated fats can help improve attention and memory, particularly in older adults. And don't worry, you don't need to eat an entire avocado every day to get the benefits. Just adding a few slices to your toast, mixing some into a salad, or making a simple guacamole dip with lime and garlic can be enough. The key is consistency. Just a few times a week can make a real difference. Some people worry about the calories in avocados, and that's understandable. But here's the truth, it's not about the number of calories, it's about the quality of them. Avocados offer vitamins like E and C, potassium, and fiber, all of which support skin elasticity, blood pressure, and digestion. And they help keep you full and satisfied, which means you're less likely to reach for processed snacks later. So let's take a breath here. We've just covered 3 powerful natural foods that don't require a major life overhaul. Just simple, thoughtful additions to your weekly meals. Blueberries to protect your brain, leafy greens to keep your mind and bones strong, and avocados to support your heart, brain, and joints, all backed by real science, not just trends. Now, I know it can feel overwhelming at times. There's so much health advice out there. Do this, don't do that. But here's what I want you to remember. Aging isn't about giving up or slowing down. It's about tuning in, listening to your body, nourishing it with the right tools so you can enjoy the years ahead with energy, clarity, and confidence. And the best part? These changes don't have to be dramatic. They don't require expensive supplements or complicated diets. They start with a few fresh ingredients, a bit of curiosity, and the belief that you still deserve to feel amazing in your own skin. So go ahead, add a handful of blueberries to your breakfast tomorrow. Try tossing a few leafy greens into your lunch. Enjoy that creamy slice of avocado with your next meal. Small steps, big difference. Now, with those 3 foods in mind. Let's take a look at another one that's not only comforting and familiar, but also incredibly powerful when it comes to fighting aging from the inside out. I'm talking about salmon, or other fatty fish like mackerel, sardines, or trout. Now, I know not everyone grew up eating a lot of fish. Some people even think of it as a special occasion meal. But for folks over 60, fatty fish can be one of the smartest additions to your weekly routine. Why? Because it's one of the richest sources of omega-3 fatty acids, which are essential for brain health, joint flexibility, and even your mood. Omega-3s are what scientists call essential fats, meaning our bodies need them but can't make them on their own. We have to get them from food, and as we age, these fats become even more important. Research has shown that people who regularly eat omega-3 rich fish tend to have lower levels of inflammation, better memory, and even a reduced risk of developing Alzheimer's disease. That's pretty incredible when you think about it. A few servings of fish a week might just help keep your mind sharper, your joints looser, and your heart stronger. And here's the beautiful part. This isn't about perfection. You don't need to eat fish every day. Just 1 or 2 servings a week can make a meaningful difference. Try baking a piece of salmon with a little lemon and olive oil, or enjoying some canned sardines on toast with avocado. If you're not a fan of the fishy taste, you can pair it with fresh herbs like dill or parsley to brighten the flavor. But let's say fish just isn't your thing. What else can you do? That brings us to a slightly unexpected, but deeply nourishing option: nuts. Yes, those little handfuls of almonds, walnuts, or pistachios can go a long way in supporting your health as you age, and science is definitely on your side here. A large study published in the New England Journal of Medicine found that people who ate a small handful of nuts every day lived longer than those who didn't. Even more interesting, those who ate nuts regularly had lower rates of heart disease, cancer, and respiratory issues. That's not just because nuts are packed with healthy fats. It's also the fiber, the antioxidants, and the plant-based protein that make them a powerhouse for longevity. Walnuts in particular are known for their brain-boosting benefits. Just a small serving contains alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3, along with vitamin E and polyphenols that help reduce brain inflammation. So next time you're reaching for a snack, consider swapping the cookies or chips for a few raw walnuts or almonds. Keep a little jar on your kitchen counter or in your bag for an easy, energizing bite on the go. Now, I get it. Nuts can be high in calories, and if you're watching your weight, you might feel hesitant. But here's the thing. It's not about eating them by the bowlful. Just a small handful, around a quarter cup, is plenty. And because they're so nutrient-dense, they'll help you feel satisfied and reduce the urge to over-snack later. And while we're on the topic of satisfaction and gut health, there's one more food I want to share with you today that doesn't always get the spotlight it deserves: sweet potatoes. Yes, those warm orange beauties you might usually save for Thanksgiving. But sweet potatoes are actually one of the most nutritious, anti-aging foods out there, and they deserve a regular spot in your weekly meals. Here's why. Sweet potatoes are rich in beta-carotene, which our bodies convert into vitamin A. This Vitamin is essential for skin health, immune function, and even vision, especially important as we get older. They're also loaded with fiber, which helps support digestion and blood sugar control, and they've got a natural sweetness that makes them incredibly comforting without needing any added sugar. What's more, some of the longest living populations in the world, like the people of Okinawa, Japan, have eaten sweet potatoes as a dietary staple for generations. Their rates of heart disease, cancer, and dementia are significantly lower than the global average. And while we can't say it's just the sweet potatoes, there's no denying they're a delicious part of a much healthier picture. The best part is, sweet potatoes are so versatile. You can bake them whole and top them with cinnamon and a drizzle of olive oil, or slice them into wedges and roast them until crispy. They can even be mashed, cubed into stews, or pureed into soups. However you enjoy them, they bring warmth, flavor, and serious nourishment to your table. So let's take a breath and reflect for a moment. What we've talked about isn't a long list of complicated shoulds or rigid diets. It's about bringing more color, more variety, and more joy into your meals. Salmon or other fatty fish for your heart and brain, a handful of nuts to keep you sharp and satisfied, sweet potatoes to nourish your skin, gut, and spirit. These are all foods that don't just help you live longer, they help you live better, and that's the real goal, isn't it? Not just adding years to your life, but adding life to your years. Feeling energetic enough to chase your grandkids around the yard, staying sharp enough to finish a good book, waking up with the energy to take a walk, tend your garden, or enjoy your favorite hobby. That's what these foods help you do, not through magic, but through the quiet, powerful support they give your body every single day. You deserve to feel strong. You deserve to feel vibrant. You deserve to sit down to a meal and know that every bite is helping you protect your future. So far, we've uncovered some of the most powerful foods you can invite into your weekly routine. But there's still one more that deserves a special place on your plate: berries. Whether it's blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, or blackberries, these little gems are bursting with flavor, color, and age-fighting nutrients. You might already love them on your morning cereal or as a sweet afternoon treat, but there's more to berries than their juicy taste. What makes them especially magical is their rich supply of antioxidants, particularly a group called anthocyanins. These are the compounds that give berries their deep red and purple colors, and they've been studied for their remarkable ability to support memory, fight inflammation, and even slow the aging of brain cells. In fact, researchers at Harvard followed more than 16,000 older women over several decades and found that those who ate more berries had slower rates of cognitive decline. That's not just encouraging, it's empowering. A handful of berries a few times a week could help keep your mind sharper, your focus stronger, and your recall quicker. And they're so easy to enjoy. Toss them in your oatmeal. Blend them into a smoothie. Eat them straight from the bowl like nature's candy. If fresh berries aren't always available or affordable, frozen ones work just as well. They're often picked and frozen at peak ripeness, locking in all those nutrients. You can even heat them into a warm compote and spoon them over Greek yogurt or cottage cheese for a nourishing dessert. And speaking of yogurt, we can't forget to talk about your gut, because the final anti-aging food on our list is fermented. Foods like plain Greek yogurt, kefir, sauerkraut, or even kimchi. Now, I know fermented foods can sound a little unusual if you didn't grow up eating them, but trust me, they can do wonders for your health, especially after 60. Our gut is home to trillions of bacteria that help us digest food, fight infection, and even regulate our mood. As we age, this balance of bacteria can shift, sometimes leading to more inflammation, weaker immunity, and slower digestion. That's where fermented foods come in. They're packed with probiotics, the friendly bacteria that help restore and maintain a healthy gut. And here's where it gets exciting. When your gut is healthy, your whole body benefits. Your immune system works better. Your skin can clear up. You feel less bloated, and even your mood can improve. Scientists are now calling the gut the second brain, and feeding it the right foods, like probiotic-rich yogurt or kefir, can have a real impact on how you feel each day. Don't worry, you don't need to overhaul your entire diet or eat fermented foods with every meal. A small cup of plain yogurt with your breakfast, a spoonful of sauerkraut with dinner, or even a glass of kefir as a snack can gently nudge your gut back into balance. And if you're lactose intolerant, there are dairy-free options too, like coconut yogurt or miso soup, that still offer similar benefits. So here we are. You've now discovered 6 of the most powerful anti-aging foods you can bring into your life, foods that nourish not just your body but your spirit too. Leafy greens for your cells and bones, berries and fatty fish for your brain and heart, sweet potatoes for energy and skin, nuts for satisfaction and strength, fermented foods to heal from the inside out. Now, I know making changes to your eating habits can feel a bit overwhelming at first, but here's the truth. It's not about being perfect, it's about making small, gentle shifts in your daily routine that add up over time. Maybe it's choosing berries instead of cookies once or twice a week. Maybe it's trying salmon for dinner instead of fried chicken. Maybe it's keeping a bag of nuts in your purse for those snacky moments on the go. These foods aren't just about adding years to your life. They're about helping you feel good in those years. More energy in the morning, fewer aches in your joints, clearer thinking, better sleep. The ability to enjoy the things you love without feeling worn down or foggy, and you're never too old to start. Your body is always listening, always responding, always ready to heal and grow stronger, no matter your age. Every time you choose to nourish it with whole, vibrant, life-giving foods, you're sending a powerful message. I care about myself. I deserve to feel well. I'm not done yet. So as you sit down for your next meal, think of it not just as food, but as an act of love, a daily promise to yourself to stay strong, stay curious, and keep showing up for the life that still wants to unfold for you. And if any of this resonated with you, if you're ready to take one small step toward more energy, more clarity, and more joy, I invite you to share your journey with us in the comments. What's one food you're excited to try this week? What's a recipe that always brings you comfort? Your story might inspire someone else who's on the same path. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. We're building a community of wise, vibrant, and health-minded souls here, and you are a vital part of it. Here's to more color on your plate, more strength in your step, and more love in every bite. Because aging isn't about fading, it's about flourishing. You've got this, and you're not alone.